like to call the work session to order at this time. It is 6 o'clock, 6:02 actually. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dare, Ms. Beebe,
Here.
Mr. Buckheimer,
Present.
Ms. Davidson,
Here.
Ms. Farry, Ms. Panzarella,
Here.
Ms. Smith, Ms. Torello,
Here.
Ms. Spalding. We have a quorum. Also present, Mr. Iannucci, myself, and Mr. Bruner.
Mr. Blair.
Hi, Dr. McCarron and I have provided you a work session agenda that you can review. First thing on that is reviewing the board and district goals. You also have a copy of that, which we did, I guess, back in August. We were looking at quite a bit. One of the things we talked about, I believe, at the August meeting as well, was reviewing those goals periodically throughout the year. So we just figured this would give you a table to give you an idea of what's going on, trying to keep you advised of those things that are going on. So I don't know if you looked at that or not.
Work session notes.
What you have
Is
in
this it
front of you
here?
is, yes, on one
Okay.
side is the district goals, and you'll
Goals.
see that it's filled in.
Yes.
On the other side is the board goals, which we left blank, so that way it could be open for discussion. So with the district goals, we filled it in with, based on the agenda and things that have taken place, where we currently are with those.
So that first goal, obviously, there's on PD. The objective, obviously, is, hasn't changed. And then this is some things there. The first DAC meeting was, this is a district advisory committee meeting. I believe Angela was on that last year.
Absolutely.
Good.
Just remember.
That's why it's tentatively. So
Okay.
I'll talk to you later today.
No problem.
Do that. We'll meet a minimum of twice a year. I'd like to probably get 3 or 4 meetings in after this year, just so we're, that, like 1 or 2 more parents to be involved in that. There's also some staff members on that committee as well, just to review how that's going. The second thing we have down there is PD, integrated instructional technology. And we've done that since day one of the school year, teachers and students came back, as well as the last couple of days with training and services there. Michelle went, as well as Mr. Miller at the middle school, at the vaults, worked with the staff members, and I got their plan, will probably give you a better summary of what happened there on Friday and Monday, I guess. Monday especially, through Chrome, things like that.
Currently, Ms. Went and also Mr. Bernard have been working with staff members and students, really focusing on rolling out the Chromebooks in grades 5, 6, and 7. As an update, I had last stated that Dell would not deliver the Chromebooks until November 1st. The Chromebooks were actually rolled out last Thursday after we got them and we got the bags and everything was put together. Students were assigned their numbers and everything went out. Currently, our main focus with Ms. Went has been making sure that teachers are aware of how to use the Chromebooks and that she's really pushing into classrooms to help them do that. We did have PD on Monday and Friday of this past week. During both those PD sessions, the 5th through 8th grade teachers were able to work with technology, focusing on Google Chrome, a little bit more advanced items, Google Classroom, things that they would be using in their classroom immediately. I'd like to buy it out. And then also, Ms. went over Discovery Education, which is a new program that we have into the district that we were able to bring in across the district. And that offers different videos and different materials for teachers to bring more real life things. And that's Discovery Education. They now have a website that pulls all that stuff together. One thing that we are looking at for this year, since we do have Ms. Epstein, who actually worked with our elementary teachers on Monday and Friday. She has been working with the Volz teachers, is really pushing Ms. Epstein and also Ms. Went between all the buildings. So now that the Chromebooks have been rolled out, using grade level meetings, which teachers have on a weekly basis, Ms. Went will be going to those grade level meetings to meet with teachers as a grade level over at Bingham and Downing as well, and helping them set up, learning the Google Apps, learning, you know, the Drive, how to work within the cloud, all the different features that are available to them for that.
Question one. And obviously, we're still using real time to help streamline our evaluation, and just give a little idea of what that looks like. You know, we would send our pre-observation form out to a teacher, well before the observations take place. They send that back to us, and the meeting will take place, we can discuss what we're looking for. If not, we'll just take that as a piece of information. They will send us any other artifacts that they'll be using that lesson. We can attach that in real time to their observation before we even get there. So there's no longer need for tons of worksheets or anything like that, so everything is just linked to that. When we go in, either have the 20-minute short, or we have the 40-minute long observation. On non-tenure staff, right now, I think it's over 40-minute evaluation. And then I've been trying to time, how about the mechanics of that? I've been trying to turn mine around in 24 hours, just so I can get it off my desk. You know, so a lot of times I'll just go back to the office and finish it up, and then email that, their post-observation form to them. They'll get that back to me, and then I'll schedule a time, again, 24 to 48 hours after the observation. It's still fresh in our minds of what we've seen, and then we'll meet and discuss it. Now, another thing I've been doing this year is with the first-year teachers and some other, or first or second-year teachers, especially first meeting with their mentor as well. I invite the mentor, all who teach, staff members are assigned a mentor, so I'll invite them to come, we can work it out, in their schedules, to meet the teacher who's observed plus the mentor, so we can discuss it. So if there's areas of concern or areas just that we're looking to enhance, that the mentor's aware of that and they can work on that, and that's worked out pretty well.
Mark, how many new staff do you have this year that you need mentors?
I want to say 4.
There's 4.
And they each have their own individual mentor, there's
Yes.
nobody double duty?
No,
Correct.
it's not recommended. It's a lot. 'Cause it's changed a little bit, the requirements
Do
for
you want to buy
that,
his bell?
You could.
but it's going well for them. So that's where we are with the evaluations. I think next week I'll wrap up my round one, and Dr. McCarron probably done his and submitted them all already. But November 15th is the
Good
day.
stuff, yes.
November 15th is the deadline we set for the first round. We broke it into 3 rounds. But I think we're a little ahead of schedule on that, especially because the next couple of weeks we have some activities where we're either going to be out of district or, you know, some half days coming up where they have teachers convention times, so the time's not there with it. So we're well ahead, so it's good.
Along with the real-time streamlining, we've also picked up the lunch program being utilized in real time also. So now, like, parents can put money on their students' accounts using the real-time system, using a debit or credit card, and that's been working out well. There were a couple kinks in the beginning, however, everything is working out much better.
That's what I was just gonna ask,
now
how is
that-
it in the trenches, Kathy, okay?
Much better.
Much better.
Much
Good,
better.
okay.
And it's nice because now everything's in one section, so when parents go onto the parent portal, they're staying within real time, they're not going outside of it, and they also have another option for making payment.
Very easy to use it myself.
Yeah, definitely.
Very easy.
Now, how are the kids, may I ask Kathy a question? Is that okay?
Sure.
How is the reception of the children to the lunches that they're being served? Do you see
They
a
like it.
difference?
Oh, yeah.
They're a lot better?
They're a lot better.
Lunches for the month of
Okay.
September are up
Right.
10%.
Yes, I did see
Across
that
the
stat
district.
in your
Yeah.
report, so.
Breakfast, and we did change the hours, we did change breakfast a little bit, we are still, of course, offering it. Has stayed, it was actually up 0.4%.
Okay.
So, it's up.
Oh, that's right.
But-
It's not a decline.
Is it?
No.
It's up.
Can I make
So-
a comment on that?
Sure.
Seeing when trash goes out compared to last year to this year, and I'm not kidding when I say this, being a parent myself, I'd be sick if I knew my kids were doing this. They'd get their tray, walk over to the dumpster, and dump it. Now they're eating.
Good.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
good. That's good to know.
And I've heard nothing but positive things, and then I think it's nice that they offer staff lunch as well. I really do.
Staff lunches
It's
have
a big
increased
hit.
tremendously, and the staff really appreciates it.
Absolutely.
But we've even advertised it by like the sign-in sheet, so that way, you know, go see Lisa in the cafeteria, go see, you know, Kathy or Terry, and different specials depending on the day of the week, or every day you can get a salad, either tuna, like, it's a nice little thing that's offered.
Good.
That was goal 1. Moving on to goal 2, talking about we're trying to meet student needs. we have such a diverse population in some certain areas. And for instance, if we have a student who, needs a little bit extra instructional time in second grade, resource room or something like that, and he's in a regular classroom, before we just put that student in there, we want to have to make sure the teachers are giving us reasons why this student should be in there. Now, we're only 5 or 6 weeks into the school year, so instead of just saying, okay, I'll just use Chaz. Chaz isn't cutting it, we need to move him. Now, working with them in our INRS and with some of the intervention specialists we have, and everything else, to kind of like come up with a game plan. The student might not have an IEP, might not have a 504, but saying, you know what, Chaz could really use, 15 minutes extra a day practicing this, that, and the other thing. Instead of them just coming and say, Chaz needs to be out of my, not that they say it needs, but needs to be out of my classroom because I can't service him. So we're trying to, I know a lot in grade level meetings, embed some of that in those grade level meetings, identify good practices to help those kids. And I think it's been successful so far. We haven't been shuffling anybody in and out yet, especially at the lower levels. And for a lot of these kids in kindergarten, first grade, if it's their first year in a structured full day setting, a 6-year-old who, if it's their first year in kindergarten, that's a big adjustment. And we've even seen some gains since September of some of the kids who weren't, in the beginning, they're not really sure about this, but they're just adjusting themselves. Maybe some of their behaviors they were demonstrating or some of the things they were doing, or the fact they're just not comfortable. Again, we're sending a lot of people out for some PD. I think we approved it last time for that INRS piece. To get those kids, to get the teachers some resources they need to help these students before we're just labeling the student, pushing them through. Our child study team want to do a great job. If that process with child study team, if somebody's referred, and then I don't know what the percentage is, how many students aren't classified, they're sent to child study team. We're trying to prevent that from happening by providing them services that we already have in district and getting those kids to help them. So that's going to be an ongoing thing. You're probably going to see that
Well, I think
every
it's
month.
important for these programs like this, just to help streamline the process for the child study team. Because you're right, not everybody's going to be eligible for special needs classes, so, and it takes forever for that process to go through. And sometimes you're losing a whole year with your child, and that's not good.
And in a lot of cases, one thing that I know that the team just went over was the PRIM, which is the pre-intervention manual that's used, but making sure that those resources are available to teachers, so when there's an identified behavior or issue, you can print out a 2-page document that lists 80 different strategies that you can try.
Perfect.
And it's a lot better when you're going to a team, whether it be the INRS team, 504 team, or child study team, and you say, I've tried the following things, this is what I found, this is what worked, this is what didn't, so.
Good. Now, is that available for all the teachers that, and
Yes,
has this
both
come up?
counselors are part of that committee.
Okay.
So they've made it available, and usually when there's an issue with a student academically, and our RTI teachers were also a part of that, our basic skills intervention specialists, when an issue comes, it's going to those individuals.
Right.
So they're great resources for staff members, and it's been brought up during grade level meetings as well.
Okay, another plus for grade level meetings. Absolutely.
And also the 504 information, I believe, is being put into real time.
Which it wasn't
So
previously.
the teachers kind of know which students at those meetings and stuff.
Oh, that's
So
good.
it's not a slip of paper somewhere, a folder, we can access it to. District goal 3, to improve the communication with various shaped stakeholders around. Obviously we've been in social media age now for about a year and a half. We're definitely remember increasing staff attendance, staff attendance was a big thing, especially for students. You'll see the percentages there, which are pretty strong attendance numbers. You're never going to have 100%.
That's good.
But, you want to be hovering around those numbers that we're at right now, especially for staff. It's important we have a strong staff attendance, which I think we do. We all understand, staff members have families, if something comes up, you need to care for somebody or they need to take time, I don't believe those numbers reflect anybody who's out, correct?
No.
So those numbers aren't impacted, you get somebody coming out with really, so that's pretty strong numbers. Some of the activities you're gonna see tonight, that's why we're all dressed in our green shirts, getting some more recognition for our students and what they're doing. These kids are very excited to be here tonight. There's about a dozen of them coming over to practice their
You hope there's a president, there might be more.
No, there might be. We have at least a couple.
And then their parents, so,
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
They're doing a great job.
Get more chairs on, one stand by.
Yeah, so we invite you to
Yeah.
come at any time. There's five or six classes coming this evening. Miss Kaufman, who's working with them. She's a teacher, K to 5, who's doing a great job.
Yeah, I think so too.
We welcome you there. And then we also talked about attendance at various meetings in town throughout the year. So let me get, you're involved.
I'm there, but you know what, I have a comment, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'm there every month, but if everyone remembers last year during the campaign period, there was like bashing done of someone who wasn't coming to our meetings, and I just recently realized that this year, no one's coming to our meetings. Do you know what I mean? And it bothers me, because it was used as a campaign, you know, it just bothers me, because I don't see any of the people that I see when I go to meetings a month here representing. I just, you know, we can do what we can do. I'm there, and there's not really much going on that's gonna affect the schools per se,
Yeah.
but it still bothers me that no matter how much we reach out, I don't know that we're really getting any.
Dr. McCarron and I are gonna see in the next couple of weeks when the next one was, and then just go.
I can tell you,
Yes.
it's
Okay, I figured you could. So maybe just, we were gonna.
November 5th, because I'm sorry, it just came to me, November 4th is election day, it's typically on a Tuesday, it's November 5th.
It's on a Wednesday.
Yep, it's on a
So
Wednesday.
we were thinking about possibly going there and just speaking, if they will allow us to.
Oh, they
speak for a
will,
couple minutes.
they will.
There's some of the things we have going on in the
Absolutely.
district, and share that, you know, our vision with them, so they can see.
What time?
Invite them in.
Start.
7 o'clock.
We'll do November, December.
How's that?
We'll do November,
Yeah,
December, state.
Just to share, invite them in, we had,
You know what December state is?
Yeah, I know.
I believe we have public, education week where we have parents come in and.
Interesting.
If they wanna come in, they're more than welcome.
This is on Monday, and
We're very proud of the school district, and we wanna show it off to people who might not have children in the district, but they're also important people as well, so we are gonna attend coming up in the near future. Also improving to articulation, I know, I think I put in my board report, one of the things with Black Horse Pike, as well as Runnemede, Belmar, and Glendora, was to increase that communication as far as the sending districts to the Black Horse Pike, to kind of get us more on the same page. That's been lost the last couple of years. We used to have a principals group that met with Black Horse Pike once, I'd say once a month. That hasn't happened with new leadership that took over, the last couple of years of Black Horse Pike. It's not anybody's fault, I'm not blaming anybody, I just don't think they knew about it. And then we have some new principals as well, so I think they're gonna start that up again in November, so they can see what's going on. Get us on the same page.
Now, Mark, when you go, superintendent roundtables, are the sending district, is the high school superintendent in that as well?
Sit right next to them.
Okay, so
It's all
there
Canyon
is,
County.
Oh, it is,
K-12,
okay.
K-8,
Okay.
K-6.
I wasn't sure if it
whatever.
was broken down.
I sat next to Gene Grubb today at the DA roundtable, so
Sean's like, he gets to get two of them.
I'll be going to the curriculum roundtable tomorrow morning,
Well,
so.
that's what happens when we wear all those hats, so we can't help that.
And there's 0 roundtables at any of them, they're usually rectangular.
December's meeting is Tuesday, December 2nd,
December second.
December 2nd.
But, thank you for that. I don't wanna take up much.
Now, didn't we say though last month when we were talking about that in county council meetings that, yes, that we would split the duty, have a sign-up sheet as far as each month? I think
Take
that's a great
turns.
idea. Since Maria's already there, she's a given. So, I'm thinking the rest of us, I think I could just split it up. So we have a rep there every month.
Start with
Have sign-up.
January if nothing else,
Right.
because there's a new
Yeah.
council coming on,
Right.
obviously,
Right.
there's just one low post. I guess I just wanna add something, last night I went to, another way to call into, but I was very proud to be there. At Haddonfield Middle School was the people to people school ambassador that Gregory was invited to. It's also something that certain students who have interest in can sign up for. Do you know Phil Haddonfield, and I mean to the point where they were running out folding chairs. They have a very big auditorium there. There were probably, I'm gonna say, 15 or 20 kids there. It was huge. Like, I just turned around and thought, between 15, Dante had the number of 19, Gregory had the number of 16. I came up with a definite 18, so we're fluctuating between. It was huge. and I think it says a lot, because, you know, that's an educational program that they even get, you know, credits for a whole year of social studies credits, and I think it was just amazing to see all the, you know, a lot of local families and their kids there. So that's rewarding, I think, for our district.
Thank you. And on the back of that page is the board goals.
I think this would be perfect.
Jazz will
Goal number two.
be sharing, number 2, board goal number 1, participate in Camp Education Service Commission and New Jersey School Boards Association.
Yes.
Mr. Buckon attended a meeting, I believe, on
27.
27. He's going to take a
Yes.
few minutes tonight to share with us.
Yeah, in front of each of you is a copy. I attended the Advanced Boardsmanship, as it was an all-day training program of the Princeton Marriott, and it was excellent, and I wanted to share with you some key information for all the board members. But let me first start off by saying, we had about 150 board members across the state in this program. And we started off as a large group, and twice we broke off into small work groups of 15. And in the morning session of that small group of 15, the facilitator in our groups asked if each of us would just take a moment to talk about something your board may have done or your board did that you feel is going to improve the effectiveness of your board. So when it got to me, I said, well, one of the things that our board did was we developed a board handbook that we had never had before, because we thought that the information there would help, especially new members coming onto the board. When I finished, the facilitator said, that's a wonderful idea. I'm just curious, how many other board members sitting in the room, so I had 14 other school districts represented, have a board member's handbook? Not a single hand went up. That made me feel really good, made me feel like this board is proactive and not reactive. We realized that there was something that we could do to make our boards even stronger, and we did it. 4 of those other board members took my email address, and I had emailed to them, I got permission, emailed them a copy of our handbook. But not a single one, 14 other school boards from 14 different districts, none of them had the handbook either. So that was very refreshing to know. The morning session was focused on us having a firm understanding of the principles of parliamentary procedure. One of the things that they pointed out in the training was that your board administrator, your board secretary is to be the expert with parliamentary procedures. So that when it comes to voting, whether it's a simple majority or a majority vote, that he or she knows the proper procedures for us to follow. But to make it easy, and each of you have a copy, I make sure I talked to someone here and got copies for each of you. On pages 12 and 13, if you open up that booklet, there is your parliamentary procedures broken down into real simple steps to take and answers all the questions you would have as far as any action you can take as a Board of Education and the proper steps to take for a motion, to add something to a motion, you name it. It's on those 2 pages. So you may want to hold on to this booklet because it's very self-explanatory, because we also got a copy of parliamentary procedure. It's taken this and it's broken it down into 2 pages. So that was very, very helpful during our discussions. And then we went through different scenarios in the workshop and what are the proper parliamentary procedures to follow. So, and all that information is here for you. There are 3 fundamental principles when it comes to effective boardsmanship, they pointed out. And that simply is that the majority rules, that individuals have rights which no majority may take away, so we each have the right to express our feelings, our ideas, our opinions. And the minority abides by the majority decision when all discussions are done, the vote is taken, come together as a team that support that vote. Those are the 3 principles of the New Jersey School Board Association when it comes to boards. And something that I didn't realize, I always thought that if you abstain, it's considered a negative vote. An abstention isn't considered a vote at all. It's just considered an abstention, not a vote whatsoever. The morning session also examined the various forms of committees. how they are set up in the state of New Jersey. And what was pointed out to us was that the committee system, such as a policy committee, a negotiations committee, educational instructional committee, facilities committee or financial committee, in the state of New Jersey, 81.4% of all school boards, that's how they function.
We'll try. It didn't work.
The committee of the whole, only 8.1% of the boards in our state function that way. And then 10% function in other capacities. They also stress, though, that doesn't mean this one is better than that one. You want to establish your committees based on how your board feels and the comfort they have in dealing with a committee of the whole versus specific committees. They did stress that they thought that the committee's system is probably the most effective. And the reason why they pointed to that is one point. When you're a committee of the whole, since the whole board is meeting, it has to be open to the public. And they felt that sometimes that might restrict some board members from being totally honest and open about their feelings towards a direction that particular committee is going in. That's the only negative they see about committee of the whole versus having separate committees, because they're smaller and they are not open to anyone other than the committee members. What makes those committees effective, though, which is important, is that you have to make sure that you're reporting back to all board members right after that committee meeting the following day, getting information out so they're constantly informed and aware as to what is going on in each of those committees. And if you were going to go in that direction, what the New Jersey School Board recommends, you would have at least 3 committees. Committee on Curriculum and Instruction Education, Committee on Finance and Physical Plant Operations, and a Committee on Personnel and Management. They don't feel you need any more than that. They feel that covers all aspects of a school district. And again, they didn't say one was better than the other, but they pointed out that one possible flaw, some people may not be as open because of the fact that you have to have it in front of the public. They also strongly urge that when you have special challenges that you need to tackle, to have the ad hoc committee, which is what we did for our handbook. We had an ad hoc committee. The afternoon session addressed the importance of effective communications. And they pointed out that the most important communications to all parties in your community is simply this. Our first and only real goal is student achievement. It's important that the right or correct messages are going out to the public, and to ensure that they feel that all information going out to the public needs to be to the superintendent, board administrator, or board president. And especially when talking to the press, it should be only one of those 3 individuals, no one else on the board. They are representing all of us at that particular moment. Some other suggestions that can draw support from members of the community through communications would be to have school tours. And when I saw this and when they were talking about it, I forgot to mention this at our meeting last month. When we had that picnic in August to bring people out to the school, one parent came up to me and said, my child will be coming to Volt School this year. We've never been in Volt School. Are they going to have a tour so my child feels comfortable as far as what classes are where in this whole complex? Where's the library? Where's the gym? So that might be very helpful, something we may want to incorporate.
Is that a new student? 'Cause
Yeah.
we do have a 3rd grade orientation in
Oh.
June, and then we also have a new student orientation.
This wasn't a new student to our town. They've lived in the community ever since the child was in kindergarten, but for some reason, the child has never been in the whole school.
They would have been here for 3rd, because we do a 3rd grade, we do a full day.
Okay.
A little field trip where they come over here.
Well, maybe the child still didn't feel comfortable.
That's fine.
And maybe that's something we could do at that particular night, is to also help open it up for people who would like a tour of the Volt School for the children who are going to be coming here in
They even have
September.
a buddy the day they're here, like an upper,
Yeah.
like an older grade kid to walk around.
Well, you know what, if that child was here in 3rd grade, by the time they're ready to come here, they may have forgotten where things are. Just were nervous. Offer free workshops to senior citizens in our community. Invite senior citizens to the school concerts and plays, and if possible, do a special concert or play in the afternoon for the older citizens, because many of them don't stay up late. With your social media, whatever you're doing, make sure through the superintendent that you've assigned someone that oversees everything that's going out in the social media. so that it's correct and accurate and up to date. Possibly have a monthly breakfast or lunch with key elected officials in your community to talk about what's happening in the school, where we could use their support, where could we help them. Make sure communications is two-way to encourage community involvement. And also maybe a monthly student administrative roundtable so that the students feel that they have a sounding board with their administration and their staff. They also recommended a video that's out there and an organization that started, I don't know how old it is, it's nationwide, it's called Stand Up for Public Schools. And you can go out there on YouTube and check out their numerous videos. The state of Pennsylvania is very involved in it, and you can get bumper stickers and t-shirts, and it's just putting out the word to the community, all the good things that we do as a public school system for the children that live in our community. Some other ideas that came out in the workshop by school districts that are using them, develop and implement this was interesting, a Skype Connect for students that are on homebound instruction or long-term illness. This allows the students from their home to listen in on teacher lectures, demonstrations, Q&A, and even take their assessments. I thought that was quite interesting, set up that type of program. And there are schools in New Jersey that have done that. It's a Skype Connect program. The Chester Township School District in Morris County created its own school district app. And it's a free app that you can set up. And if you go to remind.com, they'll walk you through how you can set up your own app for your school building or school district. And the last would be to put out positive stories about our academic successes, our extracurricular successes, and there are a few school districts in the state that are actually putting them out on YouTube. They just need to be critically reviewed by personnel, by administration, before they're put out there. And whenever you're using children's faces, whether they're pictures or a video, you have to have permission forms releasing, from the family, giving you permission. And again, I just wanted to mention the fact that I was so taken aback by the fact that we were the only board out of 15 in that room that day that had a board member's handbook developed. So that was a positive. I really was happy to see that. So that is my report from the workshop I went to. Each of you have a copy of the report. Each of you have a copy of the handbook that they gave out. And again, those critical pages on parliamentary procedures are in 12 and 13. It's taken this book and condensed it down into 2 pages. That's my summary. So that is working towards that first goal.
Okay, so looking at, I know we'll go through the agenda as well in a minute, but board goal 2 is obviously increase that communication. We talked about it earlier, the district goal, that's something we want to do as well as the board goal. There's liaison, people to attend community meetings, we talk about that. How we going to do that? Do you guys want to attend some of those events or do that, figure that out on your own, or?
No, I think we should do it in a work session or somehow, and everybody's I think just a sign-up sheet where it's convenient, when it's convenient for everybody to go.
Suggestion would be maybe for our next meeting, if we could compile the different community organizations that meet, and maybe for the next 3 months, for like December, January, February, and the dates, and then we could sign up for the ones so we can fill in all the boxes. So we at least have 1 or 2 representatives from each board going to different meetings.
Meetings and events, honestly. There's so many events and.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Also.
And then number 3 was to enhance and upgrade all district facilities. We try to do that on an ongoing basis. Super and I are looking back here. That's something we're always looking at to do. We do have some old buildings in this district that need to be, some TLC at times. Some of the things we're looking at, we do have some stuff through the ROD grant coming up in the spring and summer to improve. But we're always trying to look to improve the building and doing a pretty good job. But, if you look around some of these buildings, if you're in them, we can start thinking about simple things have air or, heat's not working at 100% capacity all the time, there'll be little things that pop up, and they do a great job of identifying those things, but there's things we want to, we'd like to do, so we'll talk about that moving forward this year.
Well, we've addressed number 2 under the third goal
Absolutely.
with the lunch program, working with the Black Horse Pike Regional School District.
Yep. As a matter of fact, we're talking, I know we just started this year, planning for the 15-16 school year, maybe looking with Belmar, Black Horse Pike to see what days. Because a lot of times, like, they're off one day and we're not off, and they're doing something PE wise, and they invite us to it, but we can't send people. Well, we could send people, but not as many as we'd like to, because, if they're doing something with their English department, we can send 1 or 2 members, but we'd love to send our entire, middle school English department over there and see what they're doing, it's an opportunity. So we'll take a look at that, and I'll talk with people at Black Horse Pike, so we can look at some engage with that. And it also helps now that we're using our lunch program as well. We try to mirror a little bit, but there's still some things we can tighten up with that, as far as I said earlier, we need incentive districts to do the Black Horse Pike as well, come up in November.
Maybe one of the things, one way we could address it would be, maybe you had, let's say if you had 8 English teachers teaching English, and you coordinated with other districts locally, have a morning session and an afternoon session, but it'd be the same.
Mhm.
Maybe it's a 2.5-hour workshop. You send half the staff in the morning, you have 4 subs in,
Yeah.
and then in the afternoon, you rotate the subs over to the other 4, they're gonna go in the afternoon for the same workshop.
Depending on what that school's doing, not so much.
Well, but I mean, if you work it out with another district, that way you can get every teacher involved in the workshop that day, but they're only gone half the
Mhm.
day. And you only have to bring in half the number of substitute teachers to cover while they're there.
And again, ensure funds are available to make necessary changes. That's Dr. McCarron is already planning for the budget season, not hunting season, but budget season. We'll be rolling out that stuff as we.
Going up very quickly.
So we're gonna, like I said, that was a long version of this. What we're gonna do is this is the first time we've done it, discussing district goals. I don't think it's gonna take 40 minutes next time, but I just wanna get the format. We're not gonna fill in everything as we go along each month, but it's good to know that we're moving along, so we don't get to August, at the meeting this year. It's like, I appreciate everybody's input. If there's something you'd like to add, you don't have to let us know. Just come that night and say, look, I was at this meeting, or you want to send me an email, Chaz gave me a heads up, if that's what you want to do. I know you're involved with some different things as well. If you have something to send to me, just say, look, I need 5, 10, 15 minutes, and we'll throw it on the agenda for the workshop. I appreciate that. All right.
Financial report.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Agenda items.
Yeah, on the agenda items, starting with the financial report. Any questions?
No questions.
I'm getting dirty looks from the audience because I don't have mine on. Like it's my Everyone's like, where's your shirt?
We'll get it.
All right, how about on the secretary's report?
Do you want me to do the report now, or did you want to wait until the 7 o'clock meeting?
Wait till 7. I just, if anyone has any questions prior to that.
Yeah, I have 2 questions.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's see, what are the parents, I know at your parent meeting, we discussed concerns about the curricula and academic concerns. What specifically were the parents?
That was just questions that were fielded.
Okay.
And really, it's just them wanting to have a knowledge of the curriculum.
Okay.
And I think it's good because I feel like I'm getting more feedback from parents, or they're willing to ask more questions, which, I encourage, and, I tell parents when I speak to them, if anyone else has a question, please make sure you come give me a call. I have no problem speaking with parents or finding information out or getting them in contact with
Right.
the correct individual.
That's good, just bridging the gap, that's important. And then I know you mentioned Ruby in your report too, talking about her meetings, just report any changes of items, new or not allowed
One
to
of
be
the
sold in the district, what is that?
Some rights have changed depending on what the ingredients are,
Uh-huh.
so we make sure that all of those are compliant.
Okay.
She does go to those meetings with Black Horse Pike Regional, as I said last month. they've been excellent in terms of involving her with the cafeteria managers and everyone else. And the only other thing she mentioned was that the consortium of groups that works with US Foods is also looking at what other vendors they can use besides US Foods to ensure that they're getting the best deals.
Are there any new products coming, or is this just, again, working with other vendors? That's
Well,
what
every
they're
month,
searching?
US Foods will, during those meetings, will put out new products. So when Ruby comes back, she'll come back with a bag full of different
New products.
items and treats and new products. I think Mr. Peely tried some light cheddar popcorn. There's some new 100-calorie cheese puffs that can be sold. There's always new products. But what's bad though is, what's frustrating is that sometimes the kids will love certain things and then they'll stop providing them.
Right.
So then we can't get them anymore, so it's nice so that we have different things coming in, and it's not like we're just getting rid of things and not replacing them, they're being replaced with something else.
It's Peely's eating.
Right? We make sure we get feedback as we do these things, nothing's done just, it's been tested by,
And when they're
experts.
gone, you know they were gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The cheese puffs were delicious.
Lynn, you had another question?
No, that was my two questions.
That was it?
Yep.
How about on the superintendent's report, any questions there?
I know I have a question. I know we had talked about this last week. What grade levels at Bingham are piloting the Visions Math program?
Just third.
It's just third.
Just
Yes.
Just third,
They
okay.
had the
Thank you.
training on Monday.
Right, but it's both third grade classes
At Bingham.
Okay, all right.
It was at first at all grade levels, only gonna be one, but we felt like it was better if we had two classes and two sets of teachers to help in the collaborative aspect of things, so that way no one's doing things in isolation.
And I know they already started the next day, because I had feedback from somebody who was trying to
Yesterday.
download the homework.
Yesterday was,
As a parent, so it's a different setup.
we had a parent question, I'm like, well, it is a new program, we're piloting, if there's any issues, we'll, deal with them as they come up.
Any other?
Any other questions with the superintendent's report? Principal's report?
I just have one for Vols, Mr. Wing. Can you give us a hint as far as what this trait wall is about?
If you want to take a peek,
Yes, I do.
it's called the I Am Wall.
Okay,
You go right outside that door and take a look at the painting.
here?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And it's kind of created a little buzz, and I didn't want to necessarily steal Ms. Beta's thunder, but Mr. Feely, Ms. Beta, and I have been kind of talking about a lot of different things that have been going on, just being Respect Week and then month and all the things going on. You'll see that there's different color painting, and it has, I think she left it up there, I am in big black letters, and then students are going to actually write a trait about themselves.
Okay.
So the examples that we were kicking around, I am strong, I am smart, I am intelligent, whatever character trait you feel addresses you. They've had their language arts teachers talking with them, leading them in a discussion. One of the videos that they used actually sampled the project in another school, and as soon as it was over, there was a lot of buzz, the kids were excited about it, and that's when Ms. Beta actually started painting the wall out here. I think she has 6 different colors. Mr. Peely helped pick the color palette.
Yeah. She posted it on Facebook, but I was very curious.
From her, it was, from her, but she said, which one do you like? And he said this one, she said, wrong choice. He said, okay, this one.
Yeah, okay.
So, but she put it out there, it's really just created a lot of buzz around, kind of natural buzz around, a lot of the positive things that are going on in our school,
Now, is this all fourth through eighth grades are
Hey,
involved in this project,
They,
or is it just
fourth
sixth
and
grade?
fifth grade are actually gonna develop their own, possibly down in their
Okay.
wing. And they're kind of seeing this go on now. It was a little tough, I think, for her to find a spot that we could put potentially the entire school there. Kind of similar to our hands out here in this portion of the building. But there's a lot of things in the works, a lot of positives going on. I'll be done there.
Okay.
Thank you so
But
much.
thanks for
You
that.
got it, so much I can talk about, but you get a chance to peek at it.
I will.
I'm thinking about the next week, they're actually gonna be putting their trades up there.
Good.
She's got to schedule things, yeah, it's,
Yeah, she posted a picture of it on Facebook,
okay.
and I looked at it and went, uh-oh, Lance is up to something, what is this? And then I read, the report, Steve's report, it's something about a trait one. That's probably what it is. I said, okay, that's good.
is finished.
That's
We'll,
exciting.
There's also just a, piggyback on that, there's a tray in the cafeteria right here,
Uh-huh.
that both are still in the works, but, Mrs. McFarland and Mrs. Beta are doing that. Kudos to those two, pretty amazing, so check them both out.
Okay,
They'll both be on Facebook once they're complete.
thanks.
Any other questions on the reports?
I have a question on nurses' reports, because they're not here, but maybe you
Yeah,
can.
we don't really, I think, direct that, nurses, like, we're not having them come back.
No, I understand that,
So
but you
any-
can certainly
any
answer it
questions,
for me,
we'll find- I would
absolutely.
relay that to them.
Absolutely, I mean, I looked at the report about the AEDs, I was glad to see that things were being replaced. But, Mrs. Kirsten's report said there's one outside the APR, and then another one right in the nurse's office, which are like 20 feet away from each other. Is there any way that the one in the nurse's office could be moved to, say, either the library or the sixth grade hallway? That would facilitate those students?
It's a portable one, so that
Okay.
way if one needs to be taken from the office or
Okay.
go anywhere, because in interpreting the law, and Mr. Wing, myself, and Ms. Gerstley, and Mr. Ianucci have been going over the law continuously to make sure that we are in compliance with everything that's necessary.
Mhm.
As of right now, though, the one case that we had, the alarm wasn't setting. So that was a concern to put it back out. So right now, since we just purchased a number of AEDs, we need to see if there's money left to purchase a new case to put it in that will alarm it. But it's also good that it's the older AEDs that we're keeping they're still maintained.
Right.
But they're the older versions of the AEDs. So we have all the newer ones located, and we have located them in different spots, although they're only 20 feet away. We do have the additional one in Bowles that we didn't have previously. So we do have multiple locations with the gym, the front hallway, and then also back in Deaver.
Right, but this portion of the building and the sixth grade hallway are still a good distance away from an AED. That's my concern, that's all. That's
I'm
just-
sorry to interject, but that machine that she's using
Uh-huh.
would be part of her equipment she would bring to a crisis response
Right.
situation. So that's why she kept it portable. These other three, according
Yes,
to
they're
Janice,
stationary,
Janice
right.
will have to potentially be 3 minutes away
Mhm.
from a crisis situation.
Right.
So when you look at their spacing, even the ones closer to the door by the gym and this one here are 3 minutes away from a spot out in the field, or, in the center hallway, 30 seconds away. Ideally, Ms. Kersler would be called to that scene and she would have it with her.
Okay,
So it wouldn't necessarily be a situation where you would have to retrieve one to meet Janet's law requirement of 3 minutes,
Right.
because she would show up on scene and she would
Right.
have it right with her. So that's why she kept that one.
I forgot we have a training instructor in the audience.
Sorry.
well, that's good,
Yeah.
I mean,
On
thank you, I
AED,
appreciate
first
that.
aid, and CPR.
Sorry, her and I went back and forth on that.
Mr. Wink is now fully
Right.
trained in all those areas to instruct
Sorry.
and train.
You know, I just-
You are the expert.
I just
Well,
want
like
our
it.
kids to be safe, that's all,
Absolutely.
that's all.
Okay, we need to move along.
Thanks.
We're gonna skip, some of these are done at the real board meeting, such as the PTA report and the
That's all I
school,
have.
the committee reports. Let's go move on to property and transportation. Any questions there?
No, I did not,
Okay.
sorry. No, my questions are done, I'm okay.
Under personnel then. Finance. Done. Curriculum? And policies.
But very quickly, you'll see that there's a list of first reading policies. Same thing as before, and then in December, November, I'm jumping months. In November, you will see the second reading. So as you look over, you'll see, for the first reading, you'll see the attachment which gives you the breakdown of all the changes within the policies. In some cases, they're pretty much all mandated changes that need to be made for us to be current. On a separate note though, last month you had approved 32,
83?
3283 and 4283.
Correct.
Which deal with staff and, support staff and teacher communication, electronic communication with students. That, was requested that we review a little bit further just to look at. These were the policies that were, recommended, and you can see that they're stated in statute, but of course the board can always review them. And if need be, we can make those necessary changes and place it on the next, agenda.
Yeah, I think my concern with this was the definition of, what's that, appropriate.
Inappropriate content?
Inappropriate, communication or appropriate communication, it was very vague in Strauss Eschme's, workup. And
You
that's,
see there-
that's why I question,
Clear
that's why we
in the
take.
You see there on the second
Yes,
page
I
there,
know,
the
right.
breakdown?
Right,
Inappropriate content, kind of like electronic communication between teacher, staff member, and student includes but not limited to.
Mhm.
And they give 8
Right.
breakdowns there of things that would fall under that.
Okay.
And then it kind of also piggybacks on, later on about cell phone use, the same thing, texting. And then using any type of social media. It's pretty, I thought it's pretty developed, kind of covered a lot of the areas. We don't want staff members accepting students as friends on social media accounts or anything like that. Unless it's about a school activity, assignment, game, concert that's coming up, that, a staff member might use a school-based email account, or, for signs, now we're doing things with, instead of handing something in there, shooting it over on a Google platform to the teacher, it kind of covers everything on here.
Right, now, will staff be in service, or will they discuss this at grade level meetings as far? I think this is a really important policy for them to know inside out and backwards, especially, just looking,
It'll
number
be done
4,
at
where
a
they're talking
it'll be done at
about.
a faculty meeting,
Sure.
because we have everybody there for that, and then we can.
Sure. I think that's
Get back
important.
to you when it's
Okay.
done, or.
All right.
And Lynn, if I can piggyback, I think it's something, and I'm sure it will be, it's repeated every year. This is reviewed every year.
Sure. Sure. That's a biggie, especially when you're talking about quote, friends. You have to be careful. As a staff member, they have to really be careful.
So again, it's basically the same policy for teaching staff and support staff, it's just a different number that's used.
Also, real quick, for the first reading of the policies, if there's any policies that you would like copied prior to the second reading that we do next month, please just let me know, and then that way I can have that done for you. And get that to you.
We actually were all given,
That's what I said. I said, no, I'd rather just read the whole,
Yes.
we were actually given what, I'm sorry, say that again?
the whole policy book.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that
Several
right
months
here?
ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good in some.
No, I'm saying,
Yeah.
I know, no, way back.
Each of
No, I
these.
mean the new ones, we were just given the new ones for the first reading in September, first board meeting in
Okay,
September.
yes, all right.
They were,
Yes.
Okay.
staff were.
All right, we're gonna close the work session, and we'll be re-adjourning at 7 o'clock.